This video will walk you through how to install your premium steel fence. Before you get started, make sure to check local codes and permit requirements and contact your local utilities company to check for underground services such as electric, plumbing and cables.
Required materials.
Auger with an extension to at least 1.2 meters. Metal cutting saw. Tape measure. 100 meters tape or similar if doing long runs. Level. Rubber mallet. Multi-tool. Wood board cut to 2.81 meters to use as a spacing gauge. 3 by 20 kilograms bags of builder's concrete or 60 kilograms of concrete per post hole. Do not use rapid set. String. Stakes. Brightly colored spray paint. Towel or rag. Manual post hole digger. Additionally, Stock and Noble Fence provides spray paint containing protective zinc with every order.
Planning your layout.
Before digging, plan your layout ahead to avoid cutting rails and having unnecessarily small sections. In most situations, it makes sense to decide all gate placements first. Some gates, like driveway gates, must be installed in precise locations. These should be installed first. These should be used as anchors in your project when it comes to measuring out post centers. Meanwhile, paddock gates can simply be installed as you work down your fence line. See the gate installation video linked in the description. How to properly install premium steel gates. After deciding your gate placements, you can plan your layout according to those placements. It's important to note for planning that the fence panels or sections are 2.94 meters longer than the typical section length of wood or PVC. When planning your layout, the goal is to have a uniform look and feel across your property. For instance, there are nearly always custom width panels where the rails are cut down at one end of a run. Try and put these custom panels either in the corners or either side of the gateway throughout the property. After planning your layout, you can begin installation ideally at a gate. When installing a steel gate post, the fence post is installed at a 75mm gap for proper latch installation. Refer to our PDF schematics for details drawings. From the first fence post, measure and mark with spray paint or stakes where your post centers would go. Use a string line at exactly post center to post center. Refer to our post center measurements linked in the description. Use running measurements to avoid creep. When encountering an obstacle such as a corner building or gate, the post spacing distance will likely be shorter. Set the post where it needs to be to accommodate the obstacle. Plan to trim the rails to fit. Details on this will be outlined later in this video.
Digging the holes.
Before digging the post holes, mark all utility lines. We recommend using dial before you dig linked in this video on planning the layout. For safety, we recommend carefully hand digging if next to any utility lines. For standard post holes, use a 300mm auger with extension. Dig post holes 1,100mm deep or deeper with 2.94 meters between post hole centers. On flat ground, you can use as narrow as 220mm, but we recommend against it since it requires additional hand digging due to imprecision. A 300mm auger can sometimes require additional concrete, but eliminates the need for hand digging, decreases labor cost and improves overall efficiency. If you encounter smaller rocks while digging, attempt to break them up. If an impenetrable rock is encountered, you will have to trim the post from the bottom with a metal cutting saw and secure it to the rock. If your hole can be dug deeper than 600mm, you can manually dig the hole around the rock to lock your concrete to the rock when it sets. This will allow the post to be set as rigidly as possible, given the conditions. If you can't dig the hole deeper than 0.61 meters, you will need to secure the post to the rock with the help of rebar. To do this, first drill a hole into the rock that is outside of where the post will go. Then drive a long bolt or a cut piece of rebar into the hole you drilled. When the concrete is poured, the concrete surrounds that rod and becomes part of the rock. Put the post into the hole, next to the rebar, then pour the concrete. The rebar and concrete become one, securing the post.
Setting the posts.
Plan to set the posts beginning at corners, end posts, or obstacles in the fence line. Once your post sand rail crates are unloaded from the truck, simply cut the branding and remove the packaging. Each post and rail comes in its own polyethylene sleeve, which is perforated long ways, allowing for easy removal. The lock spacers come packaged within each post. You can either remove the polyethylene sleeve upon placing it into the hole, or after most of the installation is complete, protecting the post from mud and dirt. Make sure to bend out the post anchor tab at least to 45 degrees and not more than 90 degrees before placing it in the auger hole. To bend the tab, you can use the screwdriver, a multi-tool, a set of pliers, or a channel lock tool. You can bend the post tabs at the same time on all posts and then walk them to the holes, or do them one at a time, as shown. The post anchor tab prevents post movement. Put the fence post into the hole, then push until the ground is 25 to 50 millimeters, as shown, or tap them down using a rubber mallet. Tapping the post down the last few centimeters enables drainage to the soil once the concrete is set. This is a critical step. Enabling drainage prevents posts from filling with water. Set the post 1,100 millimeters into the ground and to a height of 1.45 meters above the ground. This may vary depending on the final height you choose. Set all remaining posts the same way using a cut piece of wood measuring 2.81 meters as a spacing gauge to streamline the spacing of the post and to optimize rail engagement. Lay the wood spacing gauge flat on the ground and contact both posts at their base. Butt each post tightly to the wood nose while setting the next post. Using the wood spacing gauge helps to plumb your posts, but make sure to double check that the post is plumb and square with your levels after moving the wood gauge. Eyeball your fence line before tapping it down, making sure it appears straight. Additionally, using a wood spacing gauge will help you navigate sloped terrains since you're automatically compensating for the slope. In other situations, like in an arena installation, it ensures proper rail engagement even in a rounded layout. Also, you don't have to use a tape measure, increasing efficiency as you're setting the fence line. Once the fence line is set, it's time to pour concrete. Pour concrete all the way to the bottom of the hole, stopping 5 to 10 centimeters below ground level. Pour concrete into the hole by using a steel rub to poke air out of the concrete. Avoid shaking the post, since it can cause the post to come out of alignment. Use a level to ensure the post is plumb, in all directions, in line with other posts, and not rotated out of square. You can use a level on each side of the post, as shown in this video, or a fence plumb will work, ensuring the plumbness. A hydraulic concrete mixer, such as a mud hog, is recommended for larger jobs since it pays for itself in the first 1,500 meters. However, it's not required. Once the concrete is poured, fill the rest of the hole with dirt. Wipe off any concrete that might have splashed onto the post. The simplest way to ensure your fence line is the same height, even in varying and undulated terrain, is by using a string line across top of approximately 15 posts. Ideally, start at a terminal post moving down the fence line in 15 post sections. Attach the string line to 2 terminal posts in the section, both measuring 1.45 meters from ground to top of post. Set all the line posts between the terminal post to that string line. The nominal height of the line post will be 1.45 meters from the ground, but it will vary with terrain. This way, the undulation will be natural no matter the terrain. Make sure to eyeball the line when nearing completion of the section, ensuring posts are at the correct height before the concrete sets.
Inserting the rails.
Once the concrete is completely set, rails can be mounted. Concrete should be allowed to set at least 24 hours before you begin mounting the rails. Line and end posts come with grommets already installed. Corner, T, and four-way posts only have grommets installed on one side, allowing them to fit into crates for shipment. Therefore, corners, T's, and four-way posts will require inserting grommets before rails can be mounted. 95% of the grommets come pre-installed on your posts. Extra grommets are packed inside the corners, T, and inside posts. We recommend mixing simple green and water to dampen the grommets and ends of your rails. This eases the insertion of the rails into the rubber grommets. Our premium steel fence requires no nails, screws, or fasteners for installation. Instead, our post and rail system utilizes the lock spacers. Our lock spacers simplify installation and make rail replacement quick and easy for our customers. The lock spacers hold rails in place snugly, but also allow for 22 degrees articulation up and down and side to side. In order to properly insert your rails, You will need to remove lock spacers as you move down the fence line and then replace them to lock your rail in place. Start at a corner or end post. Post number 1. Insert one end of the rail into the top rail opening of post number 1. Swing the rail into position and insert the other end into the top rail opening of the adjacent post. Post number 2. Push the rail until it contacts the backside of post number 2, leaving space for the lock spacer to drop into place in post number 1. Drop a lock spacer into the top of post number 1, ensuring it rests on the inserted rail. Pull the rail back firmly against the lock spacer to secure it. With the lock spacer properly in place, insert the remaining rails in this section. Pull all rails snugly into the lock spacer at post number 1. This prevents accidental falls that could chip or damage lower rails during installation. Once all lock spacers and rails are installed, the rails will be securely locked in place and can't fall out. Move to the next section and repeat the previous steps. Insert a rail into the top rail opening of posts number 2 and 3. Push the rail until it contacts the backside of post number 3. Drop a lock spacer into post number 2, ensuring it rests on top of the rails from both sections. Pull the rail back firmly against the lock spacer to secure it. Install the remaining rails in this section the same way. Continue this process for each section until the fence line reaches the next corner or terminal post. Ensure you replace the lock spacers in the post as you go. Please note that the corner and T-posts have unique lock spacers that conform to corners and Ts.
Cutting rails.
There are some circumstances when you'd need to cut rails. Planning your fence line helps to avoid having to shorten multiple sections. However, if you need to shorten a section, you can cut the rails to a shorter length. If so, measure the distance between the two posts. Add 90 mm to that measurement, then cut the rail to that length using a metal cutting saw. We recommend applying a touch-up spray paint to the cut ends to avoid future corrosion and rust. Once the paint is dry, insert the cut rail following the same process you used to insert other rails.
Mounting the post caps.
We recommend waiting to install the post cap until all the rails have been inserted. Then, before you mount your post caps, verify that every single post has a lock spacer installed. Once you've double-checked there's a lock spacer inside of your post, place the post cap on top of your post, place a towel over your post cap, and gently pound down with a rubber mallet to secure the post cap. Make sure it's resting squarely on the top of your post. Continue down the fence line installing post cap on each post.
After installation.
We recommend waiting 3 days before letting large animals, like horses, cattle, and sheep, back into the fenced area. This ensures the concrete footings are beyond at least half of their rated strength. Livestock will likely test the fence and could cause unnecessary damage if concrete footings aren't adequately set. In the description of this video, you can find a link to our installation page, which will detail how to install our gate and any other accessories. When fence installation is complete, reusable crate ends and gate pallets can be returned. Please watch our crate return and gate pallet return videos for more information. Thanks for your purchase. Please don't hesitate to contact us if you have any questions about installation. Thank you for choosing Stock and Noble Premium Steel Fence.